Welcome to 101. I'm Greg Bassey, your host from the Salisbury Independent newspaper. It's the biggest day of all here in Salisbury. We are in downtown Salisbury with our Mayor, Jake Day. Welcome, Mayor Day.
Thank you so much, Greg, for having me.
What is this mess behind us?
This is a construction site, and that's what they look like. We are sitting on the Salisbury Riverwalk, and we are right in front of the Salisbury Riverwalk Amphitheater. This is an asset that was identified as a part of the downtown master planning process, something that the citizens of Salisbury wanted to see on their Riverwalk.
This has been an idea since 1967. Do you realize that?
I don't remember 1967, so no, I don't realize that, but I'm glad to hear that because some of the ideas in that master plan, remember, we had over 2,500 people engaged in that planning process. Some of those ideas are ideas that either were, thought of once again or new again, or ideas that came directly from a previously adopted plan.
So how's it going?
It's going great. We have Vista Design, or the architects and the landscape architects that designed this thing. Delmarva Veteran Builders are the contractors, the general contractors building it. They've got a number of subcontractors, including Chesapeake Turf, and really it's incredible. We've got a lot of construction sites, a lot of things under construction around Salisbury, and I think none of them are going as quickly and taking shape as quickly as this one.
How many people will this thing accommodate?
So about 750.
Wow.
This will accommodate about 750. And as you know, this is going to be one of the 7 stages, one of the 7 venues of the National Folk Festival coming to town. So this won't accommodate everyone for that event, but 750 comfortably will be here. Now we could probably pack in many more. I don't know, who your favorite band is, but when they come to town and they're all standing up and cheering, we can probably get a few more people in here.
One of the criticisms about building this thing for years, when it would ever get to a stage where we get on a design or a piece of paper and someone would talk about it, they'd always go, oh, the traffic's going to be too loud, you can't have that thing, that's not going to work. But that's just not true.
Well, I sincerely hope your listeners, your viewers can hear us right now.
Right.
So if they can hear us talking, I imagine that a major PA system with a performer will have no trouble. Now that being said, we've thought about that. The design and the direction was certainly focused to mitigate surrounding noise. But I think anytime you have an outdoor amphitheater, especially in a downtown area, you expect that it's going to be part of the environment. It's going to be part of the area. And you might have a blue heron fly over. You might have an osprey fly over and making some noise, or these days a bald eagle, frankly.
Right.
Or those other birds that I don't like very much. Canada geese.
The mayor has a war on geese.
The war on geese is a long-standing war. I'm not the first chief executive of this city to be fighting the war on geese, but it is yet to be won.
Well, they are from Canada. They're very polite, but you got to watch them.
Yeah, we've been invaded.
Yeah,
they're very polite and apologetic.
Yes.
But the other thing I'll say about the noise is that we have also added a buffer. We're going to be adding a small buffer between the Route 13 corridor and the amphitheater itself, and that will take the shape of metal art. So one of the things that you see around downtown in our public art is some metal. We've got Core 10 steel art that has been manufactured through a partnership with Salisbury University and Parkside High School. We're going to see more of that art also in partnership. We've actually got a public competition, a design competition ongoing right now to get artists to present their ideas. It's one of the most shared stories that Downtown Salisbury Facebook page has ever had. Trying to get people to engage in the design process and be a part of the planning and design of our amphitheater.
Right, that's really cool. And that's online somewhere where you can sign up to be in the contest?
That's right. So if you visit the Downtown Salisbury Facebook page or the Salisbury Arts and Entertainment District or the National Folk Festival Facebook page, you can find it in a number of places. You can participate in the competition, submit your ideas, submit your images. And what we're looking for, again, is sort of a steel with porosity to it, punctures that come in the shapes of designs that are evocative of downtown Salisbury, evocative of our river, the Chesapeake Bay region, the Eastern Shore, and all the things we want to highlight and show off in our community.
When will this thing be done?
So this should be done late July. It doesn't need to be done till late August, but late July we expect them to be wrapping up. We'll be putting some finishing touches on this project, and in July we'll also be constructing our Riverwalk landscaping, lighting, benches, and some of the atmospheric pieces that we'll be adding to the Riverwalk that have, I think, long been talked about, but were seriously needed and funded 2 years ago in the budget, and we've been working on getting the designs just right, the engineering just right, and hiring a contractor to do it.
I just came from a meeting, and I told these people where I was going. They said, ask the mayor if all this stuff is going to be done in time for September.
Enough. Yeah, lots of things will be done. What I don't want is what we saw and this is not to badmouth the former host city, Greensboro, but I think Greensboro had gotten used to being the host of the National Folk Festival and many other large events. Greensboro, once they got the Folk Festival, they started adding lots of big events. It's one of the top 10 music cities in America once they got the National Folk Festival online. What Greensboro did was, Greensboro said, yeah, we don't really care that 200,000 people are coming to town. We're going to keep building whatever we're building. What I want to see is, I want to see things cleaned up a little bit, and at least at a finish point. We have so much to do in this city that is irrespective of one event or a continuous series of events that we've got to keep building. So come September 10th, when the Folk Festival's packing up, we're going to be building new projects. So you'll see most of the projects that, certainly all the projects needed for the Folk Festival done. Most of the projects near the Folk Festival done, and at least in a state that they won't be under construction. And then you'll see new projects start right after.
Now, you did something, one of the books with you and I is you do stuff and I never understand why you're doing it, and then I get it later. And certainly that was the case with the Downtown Entertainment District when you made those decisions to do the third Friday and all that. And I thought, well, that's not going to work. And here we are 7, 8 years later, it's tremendous success. And now you have the mechanism to put on all these events. I remember in the old days when they had the Dogwood Festival, Salisbury Festival, Chicken Festival, we spend all of our time on the phone calling volunteers to try to get people to show up and help out.
Yeah.
But you have a system now that allows these events to take place.
But Greg, let me tell you that system is so dependent on volunteers.
Right.
It really is. You can never hire enough people to just do the work. And that's one of the reasons why when we decided to fund the Salisbury Arts and Entertainment District as our contractor to deliver arts and entertainment and cultural events in the core of the city, in their arts and entertainment district, frankly, that they had already stood up through the city and the county and the state, our thought was, we will utilize them so that government isn't trying to, plan events. We'd much rather have a partner doing that for us, doing that alongside of us, and we'll support it. But government process can sometimes be challenging, so we wanted to rather fund a partner rather than try to do it in-house. The way that has worked has been a close partnership, close relationship, and I think it has unlocked potential that would have maybe gone away if the city had said, yeah, we're going to do it, but we're going to do it.
Right.
Government's going to be over here doing it. Instead, it's the Arts and Entertainment District, a volunteer board of directors, community leaders on that board, led by Michael Day, who has sprinkled magic not only into the Salisbury Arts and Entertainment District, but into Berlin and Snow Hill and
it's great to get him back involved in things in downtown.
Right.
Yeah.
He was an elected official here.
Right.
He's a leader here. When I see him, we joke that he's my pops,
Right.
but there's no relation. But we really appreciate the hard work that he's done, that Jamie Heater's done, that their team have done, and frankly, it's because of that partnership and the volunteers that they're able to recruit that we're able to do so much.
Let me just cut in real quick and talk about Salisbury Festival.
Yeah.
When this broadcast, Salisbury Festival will be starting tomorrow or Saturday.
We're so excited.
I see it as another rehearsal for Folk Festival.
Sure.
To a degree,
Yeah.
but it's something that the city knows how to do and do well.
Well, so Salisbury Festival can be a logistical rehearsal for the National Folk Festival, but Salisbury Festival is its own fun thing.
It's 3,000 people versus a lot more.
Yes, but it's also its own fun thing. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the things that we'll see is right along this Riverwalk, we'll have oyster fritters and we'll have funnel cakes. We'll have a carnival and carnival rides. Those aren't going to necessarily and pop music, rock music, top 40 hits. Those are things that you won't find at the Folk Festival.
You run into your friends and neighbors. It's a
you
great
run into your
thing.
friends and neighbors.
Yeah.
You're going to run into your friends and neighbors at the Folk Festival, and probably people you haven't run into in a long time. But we're also going to bring a lot of folks from around the region. I was in Easton last night talking to Talbot County folks. They're all excited about the National Folk Festival. All of them are planning there. Some of them actually had booked their Airbnbs already.
Wow.
Yeah. Some had booked their Airbnb in Salisbury.
And that's a rule yet changed. We didn't have that here.
Yeah, so Airbnbs are something that we have here. It's growing. It's certainly going to grow more, I think, with the Folk Festival, Marathon, and these other events. I talked to folks up there from St. Michael's who said the St. Michael's Running Festival, which everyone was opposed to when they announced it, has become such a critical economic staple of that community that they attract more runners than people that live in the town.
Yeah.
They attract more visitors than live in the entire area around St. Michael's and Oxford.
Since you mentioned it, I'll just real quick.
Yeah.
How was the Salisbury Marathon? That thing's never going to work, is it?
Well, here's my perspective as a runner. No, terrible. I don't ever want to see it. My knees still hurt, but no, it was an unqualified success. A lot of fun, great community event, but we also got to show off our county, our city, our region to over 1,000 runners. For a first-time event, no marketing dollars spent.
Right.
We didn't put any effort into putting it out there. We didn't need to. It was all just word of mouth. And what do you know? People showed up. People showed up.
And the downtown event after, I mean, there's people in town on a day they wouldn't be in town, and they hung around for a long time.
Well, as one of those runners, I can tell you part of that was I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to get up and I didn't want to move. So I had people bring me fries and an Evo. No, it was a great crowd. They stuck around. People had a fun time. It was as much of a fun atmosphere as any event I've been to in downtown Salisbury.
And that was another idea. You sort of have a checklist in your mind of what things great cities have.
Yes.
And every great city has a marathon.
Absolutely. Unquestionably, you've got to have an event like that. Whether it's a marathon, a half marathon, events like that. We've got a great bike race. We've got a growing county fair. We've got this big folk festival coming. We've got a good recurring series of, and the reason why those things are important is because quality of life is not something that can just be defined in a government budget. Right? Quality of life has to also come from what the community assets are, what we do collectively, whether it's the university leads it or whether it's county government or city government or the school board. All of those things ultimately creates a menu that people are going to look at when they're deciding whether to come, whether to stay, whether to move. They're going to make those decisions based on what's on your menu. And we've got to have, there's some staples we've got to have on that menu. Some categories that we've got to fill. And I think we are finally having a robust, and I think at times our communities had it, but right now we needed a robust menu, and I think we've got it.
For so long, being the mayor of Salisbury, you just had to make sure the budget was balanced, the taxes didn't go up crazy, that the chamber was happy, the Lions Club was happy, but that the tennis tournament went off every year. But you think about things in a completely different way.
We still have to do all those things, but we've got to do more. So when people ask me how things are going, often the response is, we're busy. Often the response is, we're working hard. Often the response is, I'm tired. But the fact of the matter is, we owe it. I think generationally, I got to admit that, I'll put on my generational hat for a minute. We owe it to Salisbury to give back. I was raised in a great place, but there were a lot of reasons that people my age wanted to leave. A lot of concerns about the prospects, about, and about those cultural things. What did our community offer? And we owed it to the generation that had done a lot and that had created a good environment for me to grow up, for us to grow up, to give back. And so stepping up meant doing more than just the status quo. It meant more than just doing the norm, just what it took to maintain that, that basic level of government services. It meant reaching for the stars and really trying to knock one out of the park. Or every night, step up to the plate and knock one out of the park. And so that's what we're trying to do.
Tell me more about the Folk Festival.
Yeah.
What can I expect if I go to this? I just had someone say to me, oh, I'm not going to be around that weekend with all those people.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm like, no, go be part of it.
Yeah. So I think there are people that will take that approach, and they'll probably make a few bucks off of an Airbnb, and good for them. But there are going to be many more who locally come and taste it and see it, and then they'll realize, wow, this is never to be missed again. And I say that as someone who's been to one. And when I went, well, let me rewind a little bit. Laura Bottinelli, the director of the Ward Museum, told me when I was a candidate for city council, we have to do this, Jake. We have to do this. You should make it a part of your campaign. You should be an advocate for it. And I didn't listen to her. I said, okay,
I don't remember that.
We got to get on base before we worry about hitting the home run. So let us try to get on base. She came back to me 3 years later when the bid was open again and said, Salisbury has to do this. And I said, yep, we're ready. Let's do this. And the reason why was not because I was even interested in going to it. And admittedly, I wasn't. I didn't care that much. I heard folk music and thought, whatever. It'll draw a crowd. It draws a crowd perennially. It doesn't matter where it is. It always brings a big crowd. It has huge economic impact. It'll be good for Salisbury. Great, I'm in. And what I found out when I went there is I had not done my homework. I didn't understand how great this thing was going to be.
It's like getting religion.
Yeah, I had yet to walk in the sanctuary. I had yet to see what was really, what the story was about and what was really being offered. It wasn't just folk music. There are those birds, by the way. It wasn't folk music. It was culture. It was traditional arts. It was craft and music and food and drink and all of these things that showed the best of not only a region, but showed the best of America and showed the best of the world and showed the best of native cultures. And so these traditional art forms included everything from this New Orleans brass band to start. It showed jazz, it showed bluegrass, it showed Texas swing, it showed calypso music, it showed Irish folk music, it showed Hawaiian music, it showed Japanese drumming and Korean dance and everything. And what's amazing about that, and by the way, and beatboxing and hip hop, things that we think of, that's relatively new. Well, yeah, but it's still reached generations of being passed down. And it shows all cultures. So it's accessible to everybody. It's for everyone. There is no one that's going to be left out. We're going to highlight aspects of Haitian culture, which the Haitian population is growing in this community. It has been growing for years in this community. Latin dance music and Latin culture and food. African American music and culture. Again, Irish and Hawaiian and Caribbean culture. I mean, this is going to be such a rich festival. So on 7 stages, 350 artists are going to perform. Grammy-winning artists, world-renowned artists, the best in their field. This is not just, I picked up a guitar the other day and I learned how to play, some blues. No, this is you're going to see the best blues artists in the world here. So that's the beauty of this, and it's free, and it's family friendly. And you're going to be able to eat great food. You're going to be able to, if you are interested, drink great beer, local local wine. And if you're not, we're going to have locally sourced water too. Which, by the way, next week.
Congratulations on this.
We keep winning the best drinking water in Maryland. But not only that, next week our team is in Las Vegas to go to the Nationals. We beat everybody in Maryland, including the Washington Suburban Sanitary Commission, Montgomery and Prince George's County. And we got the best team in America headed to Vegas to win.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
The music thing, if you open your mind, it's a life-changing experience. I remember a couple of years ago, I went to a Zydeco festival. I got drugged there as a hostage and heard this music, and by the end of it, I had danced so much I had blisters on my feet, and they had to carry me out of there. I mean, it was just such an enlightening experience, and I really didn't want to go.
Well, let me assure you that the paramedics and EMTs of the Salisbury Fire Department are prepared. They are getting bike training. They're going to be on foot. They're going to be on UTVs. They're going to be all through the festival footprint. And we're going to be deployed in every corner of the footprint. And they will carry you out of there, whether on their shoulders or on a backboard with those blisters. And you'll get the treatment you deserve and the treatment you need.
So I signed up to be a volunteer. I went to the United Way site to do this, but I'm not sure exactly what I did. You're going to need volunteers. How many do you need? What can I do to be a volunteer if I'm watching this?
So we need about 800 volunteers.
Wow.
No small number. So this is another one of those big events that requires volunteers. You probably went to shoregetconnected.org.
Yes, that's exactly it.
United Way of the Lower Eastern Shore is managing our volunteers for us. They're our partner in that. They're doing a fantastic job. Pam Gregory and Kathleen Momay over there are doing awesome things. And what what we're doing right now is getting general interest of people who are willing to be volunteers. What happens on Monday is the site goes live with actual time slots. So they'll be reaching out to you, and people can go online themselves and plug into time slots for different jobs. So they can say, I want to be in the Bucket Brigade, which is a donations campaign as a small part of the funding for the folk festival, or I want to sell T-shirts, or I want to help people wayfind and direct them around the site. So that's Monday that goes live, and that's at shoregetconnected.org.
What's the feedback so far? Do you think you're going to get 800 people?
Yeah, I think we've got about 300 so far, and that's without it being live, the site being live for people to plug in. So I think we will, and it's going to be about, I think, not only individuals but organizations to say, hey, my company wants to be a part of this, and we want to be downtown. We're a sponsor, but we want to be there and show up. And how can we help? And how can we get the word out about our business or our nonprofit?
Right.
And those sponsors, by the way, they're critical. This is in total with in-kind, this is about a $2.2 million lift in year one, a little less for subsequent years after that. And we still have a little bit to fundraise. We've taken a huge bite out of that $2.2 million, but it's not as if the city government is funding all of this. We're a sponsor ourselves, a lot of in-kind work, but this is a community lift. This is a big community lift. Our governor, the state has been a huge part of that. Obviously, folks like Purdue, people have seen that. But there's lots of ways for people to get in at a much smaller financial level. The Legacy Society, which is going to be, that's where people can be a part. The first 300 people who want to be a part of that.
They had a photo right here the other day.
It
was like 100 people.
Yeah, and we're going to be doing larger, more groups of them to come. Not everybody could make it, but we're going to do another photo with another group of them, and they're still coming in. Right over here, there's going to be a wall, a guitar-shaped wall, with the names, bricks emblazoned permanently, showing these people that were a part of the foundation of the National Folk Festival coming to Salisbury. And there's still opportunities to be engaged. If you go to nationalfolkfestival.com, you can find out more about the Legacy Society. You can be engaged. But this is an opportunity for you to be a part of bringing the National Folk Festival here. Because again, it's not about me. It's not about city government. It's not, frankly, it's not even about our chairs alone. They're a huge part of it, but it's about everybody. It's about Salisbury and the Eastern Shore saying, we brought this here. We said we're going to be a cultural destination. We're going to put Salisbury on the map, and you can be a part of that.
With the Legacy Foundation, it's $1,000.
That's right.
But even for someone like me who doesn't have $1,000, you can make payments.
You can, and while I don't believe you, you can make payments.
But for poor people like me, there's a way.
Yeah, that's right, and me. So I'm making payments.
No, wait. You were offered a big pay raise this year and you vetoed it.
Well, I did. But that pay raise is not for me, it's for the next mayor.
I understand.
And yes, I vetoed it. But I'm still making payments. That's all right. I'm still making payments too. So I'm a member of the Legacy Society. My wife, Liz, and I. And I'll give credit to Lily and Olivia. They're members of the Legacy Society, the four of us. I'll collect their payments later in life. And $250 a quarter. We're making a quarterly payment.
My kids are grown now, but when we go to Bedden's Red Swings, first thing they do is they find their tile.
That's great.
It's something that's so important to them.
Right. And it's not about the tile, right? I mean, the tile helps them feel connected
to the community
to it, but it's the commitment to the community.
And that's what this will be.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So the Legacy Society is a huge part of how we make that happen, the people who have become members of the Legacy Society already, and the sponsors of the festival in general, cash and in-kind sponsors, have done a tremendous job already. Major businesses in this community have stepped up, and this is again a community lift, and they are a huge part of where we're going together. So we're so grateful for all of those partners, and we're going to be singing their praises more and more over the coming weeks. We'll be putting out information about those sponsors, and again, I'm just so proud of this city. I'm so proud of this community. They've done an awesome job making this a reality and making so many great things a reality, like this amphitheater. Partnerships are what get it done.
In competition, I got a call from another guy named Randy Day.
That guy.
And he's organizing some competition between the high schools, the Bennett's versus the Y-Highs versus the Parkside, to see which classes can raise the most money for this thing.
The high school challenge.
Now, I went to Y-High, so we don't have any money over there. We're not like you guys who went to Bennett.
And I don't believe it.
but that's an innovative way to raise money and get like elbows under the basket.
That's right, and you know, we are competitive. I think you know, those. I frequently start my talks at Parkside High School with "Forgive me, I'm a Clipper," you know, or "Y High, forgive me, I'm a Clipper." Mardella, but even Mardella, you know, Parkside, Y High, and Bennett alumni associations are involved in this effort, and the 4 of them are competing, and you know, it's not limited to them either. We've had some of the private schools around here muscling in and trying to get their elbows under the basket and throw a couple and say, yeah, we want to be a part of this too, which is great because, you know, we don't really care where you came from. I mean, obviously, you know, I think the Clippers are going to win, go Bennett, but I think regardless, a little friendly competition in support of our community is a wonderful thing.
All kinds of stuff on websites. They have these algorithms that make all these conclusions about communities. I just did a big education piece, and I went and did a lot of research about what the state statistics say about our school system, and then what these national websites say. And actually, they had it pretty close. There was one that just came out recently that had us doing very well in terms of real estate. Talk to me about that. I haven't read about it yet.
Yeah, Realtor.com, which is a national magazine, and Realtor magazine, they do an analysis of a comparative analysis of metro areas. One they did recently was the next urban powerhouses, and this is the upcoming economic, you know, major cities, the way they saw it, major urban areas. And our urban area, our metro area, is a 4-county area. It's called the Salisbury Metropolitan Statistical Area, Sussex, Worcester, Wycomico, and Somerset counties. Now, it only became that big in 2013 when the rising number of people in Sussex and Worcester counties that work in Wycomico County and work in Salisbury crossed a threshold of 20%. So more than 20% of the workforce of those places commute into Salisbury for their jobs.
People don't realize that. Yeah.
There's a lot of jobs here that aren't taken up by people that live here. You know, in the city of Salisbury, we only have about 17,000 people in the workforce, but we got 50,000 jobs, 54,000 jobs right now. So, you know, we can't fill them all, so people commute in. Now, we've got to do a better job with our education system so that people want to live here, buy a house here, rather than live by the beach. Now, of course, we're competing with the fact that they're by the beach, but we also have to compete with our education system. We have to compete with other, you know, issues, crime, perception about crime, quality of life, the very things that we're talking about. We want to get them to live here. We don't want everyone to have to commute in. But the upside of it is they work here, the jobs are here, there's a lot of benefits to that, and it makes our economic footprint that much larger. So the dependency on Salisbury for jobs of those areas means that, you know, we are connected economically. And so what this magazine did was they took out the top 15 largest metro areas in the United States. So they said, well, you're not going to be the next urban powerhouses, you are urban powerhouses. And they said, you know, from number 16 to number 200, the 200 largest metro areas in the United States, what we'll do is we'll measure your economic growth, your population growth, job growth, wage growth, and housing development, and real estate price growth. And we'll take those 6 categories and we'll compare you all. And number 1 on the list in terms of all 6 of those categories was Salisbury. Not each of them, but number 1 overall was Salisbury. And we can be pretty proud of that. Now, in certain areas, there's faster housing value growth in Sussex County than there is in Salisbury. Now, our housing value is growing faster than it's grown in a long time. 11% in a year. That's good stuff. However, it's a balance. Our community's in this together. Wage growth is actually growing faster in Salisbury than in those areas. Median household income growth is growing faster in Salisbury than it is in those areas. Families with kids growing faster in this area than elsewhere, and elsewhere in the Salisbury area. So in some of those ways, the city of Salisbury is the leader of the demographic shift and the population and the economic shift for our region. But the comparative is the Salisbury metro area. How is our economy doing? It's about economic geography, not political geography.
Right. You know, when I worked at the Daily Times, the Maryland politicians would come in election time to say hi to all the employees. And all the employees would just sit there and be very polite, but 90% of them were from Delaware. They couldn't vote for these people anyway.
Right.
You know, so there was this was the economic center. And I'm glad that you use the SMSA as our indicator, because we really are a region.
Well, and that's how the everybody outside of us is evaluating us.
Right.
I mean, they don't care if they're in a city limit or not. They say, well, Salisbury is the economic geography. Where am I going to shop? Where am I going to go to the hospital? Where's my job going to be? Where's my house going to be? Where am I going to commute from? What's the traffic going to be like? And yeah, that takes a lot of different political jurisdictions, but our destiny is about our economic geography.
Well, congratulations on this thing. I hope it turns out good.
Thank you, sir.
Make a final pitch for me. Why should I come to this folk festival thing?
You can't possibly know how great an experience this is until you go to it. I can say that as somebody who's been to it. So come and see, and then make a decision about if you're going to come back in year 2. But come to year 1. September 7th through 9th, downtown Salisbury, the National Folk Festival. We're going to be inviting, I think, close to 100,000 friends to come see our city, and the locals should be the first ones in line, the first ones through the door.
He's Mayor Jake Day. Boy, I'm invigorated. I don't know about you. Don't anyone tell me there's not great stuff going on in Salisbury, because there really, really is. And boy, what a great time to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you. I'm Greg Bassett from the Salisbury Independent Newspaper. Another edition of 101 right here on PAC 14.
First Shore Federal is proud to support PAC 14 and one-on-one. We'd encourage every business to support PAC 14 and pick a program and support it, and let's make a difference.